batting second again. I'm a bunter. That's all I've ever been. I've always said, my players, I tell them when they leave me, whenever I can help you out, don't worry, just call on me. Well, Calvin called on me last night. It was 8 o'clock. I was coming back from the St. Lawrence River. Coach, how are you? Good, good. Cal, congratulations. I'm glad to see you. Up tomorrow night, yeah, well, I got to ask you a favor. I said, what's the matter? He says, accept my plaque for me, will you? I says, what? Accept your plaque? So that's how I got this job. Accepting the plaque. That was before my boss here, Dave Fragler, he called, he said, now, who's going to put all the signs out by the Hall of Fame? I said, well, you and Tommy. No, we can't. So this morning I had to get up, put the signs up, and read this thing that Calvin wrote me. I did do a good job because I can read it. That was my first thing when he told me he was going to write me a note and to read the note. I didn't know how he wrote. But Calvin was a favorite of mine. He was a great athlete. In fact, he really was a great basketball player. And he wrote this, and he wanted me to give you this message. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry I was not able to exert this great honor in person, but I am truly thanked and honored to be selected in the Rome Hall of Fame, alongside some of the greatest athletes Rome has ever produced. I would like to thank my family, my brother Cornelius Fingers, and my mother, Diane, who is no longer with us. My mother was my inspiration. She never missed one game or a sport I ever played. Sometimes I thought she was my coach. Not only did I get a full ear from Coach Evans, but as soon as I got home, I would hear it from her as well. If you knew Calvin's mother, she was a nurse on the second floor at Rome Hospital North. She died 4 years ago. She was a great woman. And she brought those two boys up very well. I would like to thank my childhood heroes who I tried to be like or simulate, such as Danny Nelson, Van Moffitt, and so many more I grew up watching play at RFA. I would like to thank all my coaches who coached me throughout my years growing up in Rome. I would like to give special thanks to Coach Bruce, who always believed in me, Coach Mize, who taught me toughness, Coach Oak, who once told me that I could be the best athlete Rome has ever in a while if I worked hard and stayed out of trouble. Well, he did both of those. Last but not least, I would like to thank Coach Evans. My wife wrote this just like I told her. Coach Evans was more than just a coach to me. He was like my father. I never had. Thank God for that. Sorry, John. Even though he was hard on me like everyone he has ever coached, I still looked up to him. He taught me lifelong lessons that at the time, as a teenager, I didn't really understand, but I understand now. He taught me that nothing in this life is free. If you want something bad enough, you're going to have to work hard for it. He taught me to never settle and was the biggest reason why I left New York to pursue my dreams of playing professional football one day. Coach Evans, if you're reading this for the first time, I love you. Thank you for everything. Mrs. E, thank you for feeding me when I was hungry. I miss your chocolate chip cookies. Again, I would like to thank everyone for this honor. That's a young man who talked from his heart. He was a great athlete. If you coached him, you know what it is. He was a kid that came to practice every night, worked hard. I called him a thrifty kid because it was snowing out. He lived up on Park Drive, and he couldn't get to practice. I told him to go to Thrifty's, I'll pick him up. So I used to pick up the kids from up there at Thrifty's, so we called him the Thrifty team. I want to congratulate all the inductees here. I probably could stay up here and talk about all of them. Time. I could talk about him too.
Who's got the belt?
But I do want to congratulate all of them. I'm going to put a plug in now. If you saw all those signs out at the Hall of Fame, those were signs from our golf tournament. We're always looking for sponsors for holes, $35. It's a great deal. And we put out over 250 this year. It's our main money maker. Mr. Dorfman, I see him. I don't know how many people play for me here? How many play basketball? How many remember Big Daddy? The cigar? He was the custodian with Pops. Well, that was Big Daddy's his granddaughter? Great-granddaughter. So, reminisce a little bit. I got one story about Randy. He taught me one big thing. Never say, let's run it one more time. 1973, RFA Girls Gym, December 24th. We ran the play one more time. You guessed it. Randy broke his ankle. But I learned a great lesson. Calvin wanted me, I got talking to him, he wanted me to say one thing about coaching today. There are 11 things that school players will count on. Rule 1, life is not fair, get used to it. This is for the younger people in this audience. Number 2, the world won't care about your self-esteem. The world will expect you to accomplish something before you feel good about yourself. Rule 3, you will not make $60,000 a year right out of high school. You won't be vice president with a car phone until you earn both. Rule 4, if you think you're a teacher is tough, wait till you get a boss. Rule 5, flipping burgers is not beneath your dignity. Your grandparents had a different word for your burger flipping. They called it opportunity. Rule 6, if you mess up, it's not your parents' fault, so don't whine about your mistakes, learn from them. Rule 7, before you were born, your parents weren't as boring as they are now. They got that way from paying your bills, cleaning your clothes, listening to your talk about how cool you thought you were. So before you save the rainforest from the parasites of your parents' generation, try delousing the closet in your own room. Rule 6, your school may have done away with winners and losers, but life is not. In some schools, they have abolished failing grades, and they'll give you as many times as you want to get the right answer. This doesn't bear the slightest resemblance to anything in real life. Life is not divided into semesters. You don't get summers off, and very few employers are interested in helping you find yourself. Do that on your own time. Television is not real life. In real life, people actually have to leave the coffee shop and go to jobs. Be nice to nerds. Chances are you'll end up working for one. If you can read this, thank a teacher and your parents. People want to thank you. I want to thank Calvin for giving me the opportunity to speak on his behalf. It was typical of one of my players. Thank you very much.